Welcome back to the 27th episode of the Launch Your Farm Show, where I interview Dustin Pritchard with the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team at EXP Realty and the founder of the Mega Momentum Challenge. In this episode, Dustin and I talk about why you should never spread your time and money out in your real estate business. Dustin also shares how to grow your team by letting your team members grow their own farms so that the whole team benefits. We also talk about what strategies you can use to niche down your business to ensure you find the right audience that will love what you do and who will become your ambassadors. And we talk about a super easy way to grow your business by 6 figures with the Mega Momentum Challenge and how you can be part of that challenge at no cost to you. And trust me, it's worth it. Plus, we talk about a ton of other ideas that you can use to grow your geographic farm. So be sure to check out the episode, like and subscribe, and enjoy the episode with Dustin. Welcome back to another episode of the Launch Your Farm Show. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and today we've got our first time having our second first-time guest. Does that make sense? We have Dustin on twice. So Dustin Pritchard, you're here from Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team. So take a second, tell us a bit about yourself and the new topic we're going to be talking about today.
Well, thank you very much for having me back on the show. It's such a pleasure to be able to talk with you. I love chatting with you, man. Like it's always cool. We have really great conversations, especially around farming and around niche marketing. That's like one of my passions. So today we're actually going to be talking a little bit about that and how to build a team using the art of farming and niche marketing and that type of thing. But to give you a backstory, my name is Dustin Pritchard. You can go visit dustinpritchard.com to learn a little bit more about me. But I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been running high performance sales teams for the last 20 years. Most recently sold my large brokerage and rebuilt my team in a virtual space with EXP. And that's what I've been doing for the last year or so. And now we're actually launching out a really cool challenge because I do a 30-day challenge for realtors from all brands, from all over the place. We're starting that up in February. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited because like I said, there's 2 things we want to dive into. And I think both are going to provide some value to my viewers and really just get it out there. So let's talk about teams, because that's obviously your specialty. Teams are what you're about. So let's talk about your history with teams and then what that looks like. And then we'll go into some farming strategies.
Well, that sounds good. Well, running high performance sales teams for the last 2 decades. I actually started off all in direct sales and door to door, business to business, doing colleges and universities and trade shows, and really just about, fast turnarounds for contract work. So I'd be hired by Fortune 500 companies and we specialized in customer acquisition. So it was just all contract work to be able to acquire new customers for those businesses. So that's where I learned a lot of the sales skills and a lot of the team structures that I learned to build with. And that was a lot of fun. I was very successful doing that. So I built out a large organization in 4 different provinces, 200 salespeople, feet on the street.
Wow.
Talking to people. So that was a lot of fun. And then the contract work kind of started drying up and I started getting into fix and flips and properties and things like that. Right. And then I was spending so much time on realtor.ca. My wife at the time was like, you better get your real estate license if you're going to spend that much time dreaming about properties. And that was one side of it. And the other side of it is I felt like a lot of agents actually didn't know how to go to work and to apply the energy that I needed to my business to help me achieve what I wanted to achieve. So I got my license.
Nice.
And then I found that I really, really loved serving consumers. So I did that in my first year and, built out a multi-6-figure business in my first year of business. And then I've always been a team guy. So I immediately started building a brokerage from scratch. So I built a brokerage from scratch. My last year of CEO, we had 63 agents my last year of CEO, 843 transactions. And then in last year, the year before, actually 2019, at the end of 2019, I sold that brokerage because it was time for me to evolve and move into a virtual team environment, because virtual is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. That's where our entire industry is going virtual. So I said, you know what, it's time to evolve and time to ride that wave. And so that's what I did. I sold my brokerage and moved to EXP and built a new team. And we're moving and shaking and growing.
So from the team aspect, from a brokerage level, what did that look like? Because obviously you had a slightly different model when you're running your brokerage and that you have now. So what did it look like then, and what does it look like now?
Well, it was a pretty traditional model. It was a boutique, so it wasn't a franchise. I didn't own any of the big franchises or anything like that. I built a boutique from scratch with a business partner, we had a physical location. We did all your traditional advertising, marketing, things like that, and just slowly, one step at a time, just built that brokerage to 63 agents. And we, our initial specialty was really just helping new agents become multi-six-figure agents. And that's actually one of the reasons why I'm doing Mega, is because Mega Momentum Challenge it stems from that operation, from giving people a 30-day boot camp, a 30-day plan to build a six-figure or multi-six-figure business. And yeah, you can do that in only 60 days. So like back in the day, like I had a problem. The problem is I was bringing on agents onto the team, and I needed to get them to a paycheck as fast as humanly possible. Right? That was the biggest challenge that I had, because if an agent joins the industry and then they don't get paid for 6 months, they fall into that pattern of not getting paid. They fall into a pattern of not doing the right things every single day to be able to build the momentum that they need in their business to live off of their business. And that's, quite frankly, that's where the majority of agents are today. Most agents are part-time agents. Most agents, 90% of agents in North America, they don't make $100,000 a year. So that was the big challenge that I had. So I developed out a boot camp to train them to get that momentum super, super fast. It was incredibly successful. So that's one of the methods, that's one of the team mechanics that I put together to run a very profitable operation.
Yeah, for myself, I was in BNI for a while, and one of the things that we talked about is we had certain metrics that we knew that if people did X, Y, and Z that were new members, they would have tremendous success. And it's that initial momentum. And it's like, if you get that going, you plant those seeds correctly. Obviously, you have to have the right attitude, and you have to have the right fit for personality and desire to do it. But if you can get that momentum started, it really helps transcend and carry forward their career with that right kickstart. And that's critical, in my opinion, to get that going.
That's true. And you're talking about metrics, and I'm not going to say this to brag, but if you apply yourself in a systematic fashion, apply energy every single day to your business, with the right tools and the right support and the right atmosphere, you can build really successful business very fast. So like, for example, 10% of realtors make six figures. Okay. North America, 40% of my students are able to make six figures within their first year to year and a half.
Yeah.
And that's just within their first year and a half, right? Simply because they are doing the right things and they've got somebody to hold them accountable. Right? And that's how I built Mega Momentum. It's exactly the same thing.
So I want to dive into the farming aspect of it, because obviously you're a big fan of niche farming and niche, not just geographic farming, because for people who watch the show, I don't just talk about geographic farming, because I think it's important to understand the mechanics of it as a whole. It's really narrowing down, finding an audience that you resonate with, finding a method or a strategy that you can focus your attention on. So for you, when you're building these teams with your, when you're helping these people build their teams and grow, obviously one of the first things you help them focus on is really niching down and finding an area that's important to them. So what does that look like for you? Like, take us through that process of, I'm a new agent, I meet with you, or you're help me out. What does it look like for trying to figure out a new pocket?
You know what? And you bring up a really good point, because you specialize in farming and you teach farming, but people need to understand that a farm is just a congregation of people. That's all it is. It could be geographic. It could be economic. It can be a niche market of a specialty of one kind of thing. It could be any kind of congregation of people. And so what I like to do is, because if you are everything to everybody, you're a specialist at nothing, and you're competing against all the other everything to everybody's out there, and there's more of them than there are of niche marketers, of people that are really focusing their energy on a small segment of the market, because you don't need every segment of the market for you to be successful. Actually, it's harder for you to be successful if you're spreading all your money, time, and energy thin across the entire marketplace. So as an example, when I first started because I love the business of real estate. I was fixing and flipping properties, and I really loved helping investors. So I would help investors grow their business by increasing their portfolios, helping them buy student rentals, fixing and flipping properties. So I really I was the investment property guy. That was me. So I marketed myself to those people. I specialized in speaking their language, and I really just looked at myself and said, okay, what do I like? What do I like about the industry the most, right? Where can I provide the most value? And when I looked at that and I was able to provide that kind of approach, it became very, very successful. And the one thing that I loved about that is that the entire industry that I was dealing with, those investors, they're repeat offenders, right? So if you build a relationship with them and provide value, they'll keep on coming back to the trough more and more and more. So it just helped me build out a nice sphere that kept on feeding me. Okay, so what I do with a new agent, let's take a new agent, or even an agent that's struggling, or an agent that just wants to make more.
Yep.
I help them niche down. Right. So even if you're a six-figure agent right now and you've done it off a sphere, or if you've done it off of whatever method, you've made it six figures because you kind of specialize a little bit, whether you know it or not. Right. So the one thing that I look at, so for example, I've got somebody on my team right now that used to have a dog walking business. Okay. Very successful dog walking business. And yes, you can make $50,000 plus walking dogs, right? And this is what she was doing. So, and she is passionate about that entire industry. And so she was starting to be everything, everybody, and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, let's niche down. You can niche down to the people that love dogs, right? And what she's doing is that she's identified her market. Her market loves dogs. So she advertises the market with the pet shops. She advertises the market with the shelters. She goes and hangs out. She's got 3 dogs. Right. So she goes and hangs out at the dog parks, and she hands out her business card and talks to those people because they speak the same language. Exactly. And she's passionate about that. Right. So she's even got it to the point where she's sponsoring a shelter for every single sale that she does. She's made arrangements where she's able to now sponsor a shelter and give a donation to a shelter every time that she does a sale. So here's the beauty about it. So now she's got this niche market. She's speaking to her target, her dream customer that she really wants to provide lots of value to, and that she can resonate and speak the same language. And she's now across promoting herself with a shelter. So now all of those clients that come through the shelter are able to see her name, her face. And now she's riding on the coattails of somebody or an entity that's already in the marketplace, a congregation that's already in the marketplace, right? That is incredibly powerful, incredibly powerful.
And that's why I like farming, in that you can then apply what you like, what you don't like, the strategies you want to do to your area, and whether that's a geographic farm or a demographic farm. And a lot of agents miss because they think that I'm going to miss out on stuff, and they don't want to do that. And it's like, you will get more business, you will grow more. On the team side, it happens the same way, where a lot of teams will run a team and then say, okay, here's the strategies that we do as a team as a whole. They say, okay, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and they don't allow their agents to kind of have their own voice or to find their own niche. And it's like they're missing out as well because they don't allow them to really grow. And agents, I think it's important that agents join teams, but I find that agents can tend to sometimes lose their voice when they join a team, because then it's like the voice of that team leader. So I want to talk about that. But before we do that, I want to talk a bit more about the niching side of things. Like, some agents are afraid to start with it. What would you say is, like, other than finding your area, like, what's that next step of, okay, I've got a group, I've got a kind of people that I want to connect with. How do you get in front of them?
Well, first things is, like, if you want to make more money, talk to a smaller segment. Yeah. Simple as that, right? You got to niche down. So think about it like this. You're just like, you can either spread your money and your time thin, or you can really laser focus and hit the same segment over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? It's just like going down the street and seeing a billboard. I guarantee when you see a billboard, that's not the first time you've seen it. That was the first time that you recognized it. Right. You've actually passed by it and seen it 4 or 5, 6 times, right? And that's what, in sales, it takes 8, 10, 15 times for you to touch a customer, for them to recognize, for them to engage, for you to actually start converting that sale and getting that recognition. Same thing in farming, right? So if you want to make more, talk to a smaller segment, but talk to them a lot, right? So the first thing that I do is, when I'm talking to a newer agent or an experienced agent that just wants to make more money, is, what do you love? What do you love about the industry? I got somebody on my team that loves builders. Okay, let's talk builders, right? And you've got to really be able to speak their language, right? So, for example, if you are okay, so let's say you're from an area that is not a economic area that's maybe you're not affluent. You're not in an affluent area, and you don't come from an affluent area, or from a family that's affluent, or you're not going to the country clubs and eating dinner, and you don't play golf, right? Yeah. Does not make sense for you to approach a luxury market.
Right.
Okay, just because you want to sell big fancy homes doesn't mean that you should, or that you can. Right? Because you don't speak that language. You don't rock and roll in that atmosphere, right? Can you make a ton of money dealing with the lower economic model in real estate? You certainly can. Actually, you can probably make more money in a less than average price point than you can in the luxury market. Really, it's just about speaking the language that you speak, like to really trust in the fact that when you are being true to yourself and who you are as a realtor, as a human being, when you're speaking that language, you come across as genuine. And if you're doing that, there's ways for you to make a lot of money by specializing.
The other thing too is that a lot of agents think that you have to only do that. It's like you can still have your other business. You can have your sub market that you focus on and still do your general business. But if you do too many of those, then you spread yourself out. So you have to find that balance of how much time and energy and resources should I spend? Sometimes people will go, I think, to like left-handed, red-haired people who live on the north sides of the street there. That's who I want to focus on. That's a little too niche. But if you can find if you find the right pocket, you can really focus and get traction. But the problem is a lot of agents give up before as well. They don't gain the traction. They do it for a month or two and then go, it didn't work. And then they move on to the next market.
Let's deal with your first point. Okay, your first point was, do you have to do all niche? No, absolutely not, right? So I usually follow the 80-20 rule, but the 80-20 rule is only for the energy that you're putting into your business, right? It's not about receiving, right? So if you're receiving, if somebody says, I want to do a listing with you, I want to list with you, and they're not in your niche, don't say no. Exactly. Say, yeah, okay, sure, no, I can help you, as long as you can serve that person, right?
Yeah.
But the energy, what we're talking about is when you're farming, this is all about outbound marketing. This is all about putting your energy out into the marketplace so that you can have your call to action, your offer out to a very specific audience that speaks your language, right? But that doesn't mean that you're not going to receive from many different segments of the marketplace. Right? So when you're talking about agents that are like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to talk to enough people. Don't worry. You are going to have a lot of inbound business coming from all segments of the marketplace. We're just talking about the energy that you're putting out, right? So that you can really laser target. So I'll give you an example from a team perspective. Price point. The average price point in one of my primary markets, because I have a team in many different markets, is $500,000. But my average price point in 2020 was, so $500,000 is the average. My average was 620. Okay. So I was able to get a 20-25% increase in value, and that's a 20-25% increase in money coming into your business simply because I was marketing myself to a demographic and a price point niche. I was looking for those high volume areas. So I was looking for the highest price point that I can possibly get that also has a high turnover, right? I was also trying to avoid the first time home buyer market as a team from a team perspective, because in a heavy sellers market, which we happen to be in right now, that was also the market that had the most multiple offers, that had the most, it was the toughest. Right? So as opposed to going for a $300,000 listing, I'm going for $600,000 listings, right? I'm not in competition as much. It's not as much work, right? The buyers that I was attracting were going after the higher price point, which again, I was able to serve those buyers with a higher return on time as opposed to, the half the price point, and the paychecks were double. So it was a win-win-win-win-win across the board. And that's just an example of how you can really gear your entire business to the demographic that you want to work with. That's going to give you the best return on your investment.
So I want to dive into the team side of it, because I think that, again, a lot of times people will then pigeonhole themselves into one of those and they go, okay, well, I only do luxury, or I only do waterfront homes, or I only do first time buyers. And it's like, if you create different marketing messages and you create a team around that, you can create way more value and you can create the right message. And I use Procter & Gamble as an example.
Sure.
Most people don't even know what companies Procter & Gamble owns, but the companies that Procter & Gamble owns, but you couldn't list them.
Yeah.
And
the brands.
Exactly. And because they do that so that each individual brand has its own life, its own audience, its own, who's going to buy Downy sheets is not going to be the same person who buys Tide, or who's not going to buy whatever. And they create these micro brands and these micro pockets. And that's where I think for teams, there's a huge opportunity. Instead of going back to this, hey, we're going to do one big brand and we're going to do the same thing to everybody, it's creating these micro opportunities. That's, in my opinion, the future of teams.
I'm going to say amen, brother. It is the future of teams, 1,000%. Actually, we talked about it today at our team meeting. So let's just explain the difference between the two different kinds of teams that are out there. There's a lot of teams have grown up in the 1980s business model and other companies that teach you to specialize as a team. And the reason why this happens is because the successful people in real estate, they specialize in a niche. Okay. They make a lot of money in their niche, and then they translate that niche and they become successful. And then the people that become successful as individual agents that want more, they start building a team. Okay. Now they build a team around the original niche, and that's good. That's a great thing. That's beautiful. It's wonderful. And you can do very, very well as a team leader that's very specialized, but it's limited. You can only capture a certain amount of mind share and market share in a niche as a team. So the one thing that I love to do, and the second part of it typically, is that leader in the team is the king of the castle or the queen of the castle. They're the face, they're the name, they're the brand, because they built a niche, they built a brand around themselves, and agents are attracted to that because they want the scraps off the table. They want, oh, you can help me, you can help me build my business. I can make more money easier by riding on the coattails of your brand as opposed to building my own. Okay. And that does work, but it doesn't scale. It's typically the average team, when it's a team niche, that's a micro niche like that, is usually around 5 agents.
Yeah.
Okay? If you get to about 5 agents on a team atmosphere that really, that specializes like that. So for me, I go the opposite direction. The people that are on my team, I really like to support them and give them autonomy. Right. So my team is called the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team. All right. But my brand, I do DPRET, DPRET. Okay. DPRET. It's like CB Richard Ellis, right? It's the same thing. And I'm building that brand so that it is a recognizable brand, but it's also something that people can tap themselves into and create autonomy within that brand. Right. So every single person on my team, I encourage them to build a niche market, a target demographic, a neighborhood, so that I can support them in building their own face, their own brand within the team. And it's so powerful. This allows me to put 50, 60, 70, 100, 200 people into the team atmosphere by having a ton of micro niches within the team. And it's such a benefit. One, you can scale. You can scale to many different areas. My team is all over Southwestern Ontario. My team serves anything from, the dog market to the new build to people that are, watching infotainment and all kinds of different things, to people that are building their own teams. Like, there's all kinds of different ways to approach the marketplace, but it's all through specialties and micro niches. But if you apply that from a team perspective, now you can operate in many different territories. You can serve many different kinds of consumer with specialists that are able to serve them incredibly well. But here's the cool thing, is that if I've got somebody that is specializing in say in the animal advocacy, the dog walker, right? And they have a client that needs a new build in a different city. Well, no problem. Our team now cross-populates and they help each other. If I've got somebody that's moving from, say, Hamilton to London, or London to Hamilton, or up from Barrie to the Sarnia, I've got people in those areas that are now able to serve them.
Yeah.
And so from a team leader perspective, from a business owner perspective, this is an incredible amount of leverage. I get to say yes to a lot more business than a micro team can.
It creates a lot more opportunity.
Well, from a business owner perspective, now this gives me the opportunity to scale. So if you were able to apply team systems that is able to be delivered virtually. So this is one of the reasons why I do virtual. I don't have a location. I'm actually in Mexico right now doing this podcast. I had a team meeting this morning. We're rocking out sales and I'm doing it from my computer. Okay, this creates an incredible amount of opportunity for a team leader to be able to serve people from many different areas. I had people on in my team meeting this morning from Georgia. I had people on my team meeting from Sarnia in Ontario. I had people on my team meeting from Texas. Okay, now we're able to grow and scale all over the place just simply because we're using technology and team systems and a perspective that, no, I don't need a location. I can serve people from many different demographics, many different atmospheres, many different niche markets and farms.
And the point you mentioned where you said they start out as a team and then they try to scale what they did. And I see that happen all the time where you have a team, they do well, they start with a farm or an area that they specialize in, and then they scale up, and then it doesn't transpose or carry over well to a whole town or a whole city or whole area, and they don't get the same numbers. Then they have to get people to keep coming in to fill in those gaps, and it doesn't carry over as much. And if they had those micro pockets and had the team focusing on those micro pockets, they would do a lot better. You could get more market share in each one of those areas, and then that would overall build the brand as a whole higher than trying to spread out too thin. And I see it all the time where agents they'll look at what big agents do, and there's nothing wrong with the agents who have mega teams, but then they go, well, they're doing that, and they've got the billboards and the park benches and the whatever. Then they go, well, I got to do that down here at a small scale. It's like, no, because what got them there wasn't those things. That's what they're doing to keep that market share. So a lot of times agents go backwards. And I think if mega agents took the time to really break down what got them there and focus on that at a micro level, I think it would scale a lot better. And I think you're starting to see that again, where agents are realizing that and hopefully continuing in that direction.
Well, you got to look. Okay, so you are where you're right now. Let's say you're a team leader, or let's say you're thinking about starting a team.
Yeah.
And you've got a couple of people that you're mentoring, and they come onto your team, and you're on a whatever split you're on with them and everything else, and you're feeding them and you're helping them and you're nurturing them and mentoring them, right? So you're going to be successful up to about 5 agents. But then you look at the mega teams, and the mega teams, they started off just where you are right now, exactly in the same spot. The difference though, between the gap between the 5 agent and the 50 agent, that is loosening up the strings, loosening up the hardcore niche, and spreading yourself into other niche markets and supporting the agents on your team to help them achieve market penetration and mind share in their niche markets. If you do that, you can see there's a no man's land. There's a no man's land between you're successful as an individual and you might have a couple of people on your team and you're making really good bank. You're making good money. Then going from there to a decent size operation where you're really making serious money, there's a no man's land of danger. That no man's land, that's where team leaders die. Okay, that's where teams die. It's like, I don't know, trench warfare. It's like that's like no man's land. That's dangerous zone, right?
Yeah, you got to get out of there as quick as possible.
Monsoon happening here, so maybe you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But that's the bridging that gap is the change in business model. You have to change your business model from what got you successful to a certain point will not carry your success forward. If you are wanting to become a mega team, like I did with mine, okay? I went from individual agent to having a couple people, 5 people, and the bridge gap from 5 people to 20 people.
Yeah.
That was the no man's land. That was the danger, because most people that start a team, actually the majority of teams, and you mentioned this, the majority of teams out there, they're hyper effective agents that are very profitable. Yeah. And then they start applying location, infrastructure, employees, staff, marketing, all to support a bigger team, and they become less and less profitable.
Yeah.
They make less money as a team than they could as individual agents. And the whole intention was to make more money,
Exactly.
your time back.
Yeah.
That was the whole intention.
Yeah.
Right? But then they end up, they go into the no man's land and they die. Right? And simply because your business model has to change. You cannot run a mega operation off the same model that you ran as a successful individual agent. You just simply can't.
And I find one of the struggles that agents have is that letting go of what they do. And they're afraid that agents are going to steal their stuff. They're afraid that agents are going to take away, and then they try to hoard it. And it's like, that's what keeps you in that mode, because it's like, I don't want to share anything. I don't want to help them. It has to be my brand. It has to be my thing. There's a team here, and I won't say who it is, but the whole entire brokerage is based around that person. And it's like, everything has to go through them. Everything has to go through what they say. Like it's like, it's a brokerage. It's not even a team. And it's, if you hold onto it too tight, you won't allow people to expand. And that's when you're going to have people want to leave, because they go, well, why am I here if I really can't be who I am? I can't really build my business the way I want to business. And I can't see myself growing. So you have to create these opportunities. And I think if you can create the opportunities within that team, and that's where the farms and the micro niches are going to help each agent find their place, and you can then support them around that, they're going to succeed and hopefully stick with you if you provide value.
Like you're talking about, okay, a team mechanic, okay, a part of the team structure, and a skill that you need as a team leader is not just attraction, but retention.
Yeah.
And so the biggest problem that a lot of team leaders have is that they develop people from zero or from very little all the way up into a six-figure or multi-six-figure agent, right? And then they have turnover at the top. And that kind of turnover is painful. Oh my God. Not only did you spend a lot of time helping that agent build out their niche, build out their business, become successful, you build a relationship. You love these people, right? These are your friends. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, what have you done for me lately? And I'm not, right? But that's how agents think. Yeah. Guess what? You're a team leader. You did the same thing, right? Exactly. You did the same thing, right? At a certain point in time, you have ambition. You want to grow, right? So one of the things that I do in my team is niching and farming is not just about generating new business. It's about actually growing your own team business as well. So I have a mechanical piece inside my team. It's a promotion structure. So when I have an agent that gets to the point where they want to grow past where they are right now, they're at six figures, okay? And they want multi-six figures, and they want to have some of their time back. I actually promote them into a mentorship level where I teach them how to run a team from inside a team. I get them to the point where they're building a team inside the team, a brand inside the team, and leadership inside the team. I split the team leader income with them. Yeah. Why? Because it's a hell of a lot easier for them to run a team inside a team that already has the operations than for them to go out there and do it on their own. And is it more profitable for me? Hell yeah. Why? Because I don't want them to leave. Exactly. It's all attraction. So I build a niche. I build a team. I build a farm inside my own team, all on leadership and mentorship and growth. Because, attracting is one thing and developing is one thing and helping them grow. But you also want to retain those top performers as well. And the only reason why they leave, it's because of the money. If it's not management, which I can't fix that for you if you're a manager, I can't help you with that. You have to be able to develop a good team culture, right? But if you have somebody that has hit this point and they want to get to here, you need to be able to help them bridge that gap. And think about how you can bridge that gap in a win-win scenario. And if you can do that, you can build out a mega operation, a very big operation, right?
Yep. And coming back to that whole micro farms, if you've helped them do it right in the first place, you've shown them the systems, you then can, if you've helped them with the support side of it, they may not want to leave that as well too, because you've got systems in place and you're taking care of it. If you literally just have a, what's it called? Where you're just churning out people. Like there's teams where it's just a system. You're like a cog in the wheel. It's like, of course they're not going to want to stay there because you're just a cog in the wheel. So when they have that autonomy, when they have the ability to still grow within that, then they're going to want to stick around. And
make them your business partner.
Yeah.
Right. Teach them everything you know.
Yeah.
And so, you're going to have some people that take everything that you know and they'll go and compete against you. Okay. They can't do what you do. Not the way you do it. No, and you already have a head start. So don't worry about that. Don't be so afraid to give them everything that you've got to be able to help them become successful, because that's where retention comes from. Make them your business partner. So if you've got somebody on your team right now and they are farming, okay, a geographical area, teach them how to attract and mentor some people that can help them grow their business. Get those people to help them with their farm areas, right? 3, 4, 5 agents hitting the same neighborhood allows you now to expand the neighborhood.
Yep.
If your farm's only got 500 people in it right now because that's what sustains you, great. You put 2, 3 people on your team. Now you can put that to 1,000 or 1,500 people. The same marketing pieces, add them to the marketing pieces, give them some face,
yep.
Give them face time, right? You got to do that, right? Make sure that they feel like they're appreciated and they're part of something and not just a cog. Because if they're a cog, you're just asking them to leave after they got some traction, right? You don't want that.
And I think too that by creating it as a niche and having those pockets, if you're worried about competition, they can't compete, because if they're not the dog person, they're not going to go after the dog market that's in your group. If they're not going after luxury because it's not their market. So by having those things, you almost create that safety net where they're not going to be able to take all of those chunks or those micro pockets within your business, because if you only have one system and you say you're just an internet person, it's like, okay, well then there's only one thing for them to learn, then they can easily move on to the next thing and take it and then run with it. And then you actually create that insulation and then a buffer for yourself by having those various ways of doing the business.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are watching or listening right now and you're afraid that if you give everything that you know to people and they're going to compete against you, I'll tell you something. It's very rare for people in this industry to be able to do what you do.
Yeah.
Very rare. It's rare, right? So I give everything that I have to my team because I know for a fact, hands down, that's a very, very small percentile. And I'm not saying this to brag. I just know this is a reality. There's a small percentile of agents out there that can or have the willingness to do the work that it takes to be able to build a very successful real estate business around their real estate license. Yeah. So I give them everything that I got, because even if they think they can, a lot of times they can't. Because it takes a certain level of skill and passion to be able to do what we do, right? But if you give them a piece, they can ride on your coattails forever, right? I tell people straight up, you can leave my team anytime you want. Yeah. Leave my team anytime you want. But I'll guarantee you it's going to be hard. It'll be hard to leave my team, because you can get something from me and my team and the team atmosphere and that support and that marketing support that you can get from me that you can't get from other places. Yeah. And I know that. And that's cool. But you know what? If you don't think so, good luck. We'll do lots of business together.
Yeah. Awesome. So speaking of giving it all away, let's jump into the Mega Momentum Challenge then, because I think that's a good segue. You're giving it all away. You're giving away the goods. So let's talk about the challenge coming up and dive into that.
Well, let's, where it came from is, again, it came from me wanting to support new agents. So new agents coming into the business. And so I created a system where over a 30-day period, they can launch their business, get the visibility that everybody needs right now on social media and in their local marketplaces, in their niche markets, to build authority. Okay, new agents have a problem. They have no authority, right? And they're a little bit cautious. They're like, oh, I don't know what to say, or people are not going to listen to me because I don't have a lot of experience. And the fake it till you make it kind of attitude and advice, I think that's bullshit. You got to build real authority, right? And so we teach you how to do that. Identify who your dream customer is, farming, basically, niche marketing, and attracting those people through that visibility and authority. So that's what we do in a 30-day period. So every single day we give, and so that's where it started for new agents. But what I traditionally just kept this inside my own team environment as a training mechanism. But recently, I've come to realize that attraction marketing. So I want to grow my team. I want to grow my business. And in order for me to do that in today's world, in today's marketing, and again, goes to the team leaders that are afraid to give their sauce away. Yeah. Give it away. Attraction marketing is where it's at. Don't be afraid. Give away everything. They can't do what you do. Right? Don't be afraid. And that's how you attract people to them. You got to serve first. before you can attract people to you. So I decided to open this thing up. I said, you know what? I'm not just going to open it up inside my own organization or even my own team or even in the company that I'm part of. I'm going to open this up to every single brand that's out there. Okay, we're brand agnostic. Doesn't matter if you're part of Keller Williams, like you are. I don't care. That's cool. That's awesome. Love what you guys do. You know, if you're part of Coldwell or part of Royal LePage or whatever boutique brokerage that you're part of, Remax, doesn't really matter. I want to give this away to you because that's how I can serve, and that's how I can find really cool people to be able to work with as well. So we started this 30-day challenge as a mechanism to grow my team. And we just expanded it out, and now it goes out to everybody. And what we found is we actually did the first one in October last year, and we found that anybody from any brand, they were able to see some significant growth in their business simply because they were just going to work every single day. And so we do daily challenges, daily workshops. We have assignments. We move the needle every single day. We do a blast off call every day, kind of like a morning meeting, but 9 a.m. every single morning. Woo, we get excited. We have a lot of fun, right? And it just really sets the day up for success. We bring in special guest speakers to run workshops, so experts in their field.
Amazing ones like me.
Amazing, super awesome experts, just like, yeah, dude, like your content was so well received that we had to have you back. We had to have you back. And not only are you back doing a workshop, a nice 45-minute workshop, but we actually are doing we're taking this challenge to the next level. We are doing breakout sessions, executive level breakout sessions. And Ryan, you agreed to actually give away course material that you actually charge money for. Yep. You're giving this away, again, attraction marketing. You're giving this away for free to people that are taking the challenge at the executive level. So, that's kind of what we're doing right now. So it doesn't matter what brand you're from.
Yep.
Okay. It doesn't matter. If you are willing to do the work and you want the accountability, the motivation, you want to do this together as a team in a fun atmosphere, right? Join the challenge. It's just go to www.megamomentumchallenge.com. It's free. You can upgrade. You can do some paid upgrades if you want to, or you can just take the challenge for free. It's cool. But we do this together as a team. And I think one of our people that took the challenge in October, I think he signed over $2 million in business in the 30-day period during that challenge, right? Yeah. So can you make a six-figure income level within 30-day period? Hell yeah, you can. Not only have I done this with so many people, I actually did this myself. When I sold my brokerage, I started from zero. I built a six-figure income within 30 days simply because I just went to work. I did all the right things every single day, applied a consistent level of effort into my business every single day, and the results speak for themselves. They come out.
Exactly. And the cool thing about this program is that it's not just fluff. It's literally tactical things, and it gets you going out and doing it and as being part of it and being a spectator, but also being sharing my knowledge with the group. It's been awesome to see agents who really took to it, who jumped in with both feet, and you have to commit to it. If you're not going to do it, then it's like, yeah, you can still learn some stuff, but it's like if you commit and you do the things, you'll see the results, but you have to do the work. And the great thing is you take the guesswork out for a lot of people. And even there's agents in there that I know who took it in October who are seasoned agents and still jumped in and still really took a lot away from it. So it's a great resource. It's a great free educational piece to really grow your business and add to it. So even if you're, like I said, if you're not brand new, if you're seasoned, anywhere in between, you're still going to learn something from it. And at the cost of free, it's a no-brainer. Plus you get to see me on there, which is great. So
it's the cost of doing the work. That's really what it is, right? Like you can take this for free and you can get all the extra tools. Like there's upgrades that you can do for extra tools, and it's killer stuff, by the way. You really should upgrade because it's like next to nothing compared to the value. But you know what? I was actually surprised in October. Not surprised. I was hopeful because I've actually helped people go through this challenge kind of systematic approach to building your business for licensed agents that had already had traction, and I saw the results. But this is the first time that I actually opened it up to all brands from different brands and different atmospheres and different teams and different things like that. And I was hopeful that they would see the results. And I was so pleasantly, I wasn't surprised, but I was pleased. I was so pleased that people were able to see the results. The people that did the work they got the traction, they got the visibility. They were able to build some significant traction in the marketplace in their local markets. And not just in the market that I'm used to building my business in. I had people from Georgia, apply new strategies to their business, and all of a sudden leads were just pouring in, out of nowhere. And before this person actually started going to work, they didn't really have a lot of authority in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Had some visibility, but they didn't really have any authority in the marketplace. And as soon as they started applying some of the techniques that we teach and that we actually do, we don't just teach, we don't just show, we actually do together. And when he started doing that, the business started pouring in the door. It was awesome.
And it still comes down to the 80-20. There's going to be the 20% that are going to do it. And if you do it and you take the steps and you do it, you're going to succeed. You have to do the work. You're giving them the tools and the resources, but it's still on them to go out and do it. But you make it easy for people. And that's what's cool. It's not this brain surgery. You're not trying to teach someone something they can't do. It's literally bite size and broken down for them. And there's the accountability from the group, which is awesome to see. And there's the camaraderie and people holding each other accountable to do it together. So you're really pushing hard for this. So you're going to have a lot of people this time. So it'll be, I think, even more cool to see the people going through, because the first time was a testing grounds. This time, now you've gotten the systems figured out and you've gone through it. It'll be awesome to see, because there's going to be a lot more agents going through it. So it'll be a lot more people having those awesome results. So it'll be exciting to see the next 30 days after that.
That's what it's all about. Really, it's just about giving back to an industry that's really given me so much. Like I said, I'm running a virtual team. It's very profitable, very successful. By the way, if you want to learn how to run a virtual team that's incredibly profitable, that has self-liquidating expenses, and I can show you exactly how to net zero out all your expenses, which is super cool. I actually teach a course in the challenge on how to build a virtual team. And that's 2 hours a week, breaking it down exactly how I rebuilt a $250,000 a year profitable team in only 6 months, starting from zero. That's just one of the executive breakout sessions that we do. And I usually charge $2,000 just to have those courses. And you get that just for a modest upgrade. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So how can people check it out again if they want to check out the challenge?
All you got to do is go to www.megamomentumchallenge.com. That's megamomentumchallenge.com. Register on there. It's free. Just register. And it starts February 1st and it goes for 30 days.
And you're going to be doing these again down the road, but not all the time. So jump on this, take the opportunity to get in and be part of this.
Look, I have a saying, guys, you can always try again later, but you can't turn back time. Right? You can always, we're going to run a challenge again, probably in the fall, and we might run another one in the spring, but you can't turn back time. Do you really want to wait 6 months until your business is working harder for you than you are for it? Do you really want to sit there grinding and beating your head against the business for the next 6 months just to say, oh, sure, okay, I guess I'll try the challenge this time? Well, how about you make a decision and go to work right now, so that 6 months from now, you can take the challenge again and light an even bigger fire under your business. Right?
Work still has to get done, whether it's now or later. So you might as well do it now and get it out of the way.
That's right. Still got to get done.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. This has been great information. And again, it's my first time having a second guest back on. So thank you for that. It's always great to share with you and to discuss future real estate and where things are going. So thank you for providing value to our group. And if people want to check out the Momentum Challenge, check it out. I'll be speaking there as well, so they can hear more about farming as well. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. You really want to see the content that he's going to be pushing out there. It's Ryan's got some really, really good stuff. Normally he charges for this. He's going to give it away in this challenge for free. So you definitely need to register at megamomentumchallenge.com so you can see Ryan's stuff. But my guys, my audience is so excited about this content. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Thank you. Ciao for now.
Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you'd like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and our other social media channels. Looking forward to bringing you more great content like this, and happy farming.